Hi, and welcome to another episode of Money Talk. And today I have an incredibly special guest, and I'm so pleased. I would not have had the courage to do what I'm doing right now, having my own podcast, interviewing people. I know how to talk, but when you're all by yourself and now you're talking to people about totally different subjects, well, let me just tell you that you can break through those walls yourself because today my special guest is none other than Ken Walls. And I have two requests for you right now. One of them is to share this video with others if you like what you see. And stay tuned because I'll be right back. Linda gave me the courage, the confidence to move forward.
And after I was finished with Linda Kaye's training, I was at the next level.
It's Linda Kaye. When you trust that piece of you that says, I got something to give, I have something to say, you know you've got something to do.
Get on your feet, shake your hands in the air. Welcome to the stage, Linda Kaye. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to my show, Money Talk, my friend, my very good friend and mentor, Ken Walls.
Hey, Linda.
Ken? Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am excited. I am down in San Diego, and I am anticipating that big storm that everybody's been talking about to come. There's a tropical storm coming up from the Baja with some big ferocity, and they're saying that we're going to have a hurricane, not a hurricane, a hurricane.
Wow. I've never heard of hurricanes hitting the California coast. That's
never in my life. Now, I do know that warmer waters, because we're experiencing warmer waters these days, and there's no such thing as global warming, right? Oh. So I can tell you that the warmer waters bring up things that we really do want to see. If you're a fisherman, that's because it brings in the big game, like marlin and swordfish and all that kind of crazy stuff. But the winds and hurricane, I don't know about that. So
never heard of it.
Me neither.
Wow.
But Ken, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me what's going on with you just made a huge move. And I will tell you that you have to get used to the things that come into your life, right?
Yeah.
And the things that come into your life in a way that are unexpected. What are some of the unexpected but pleasant consequences of making your move?
Well, I moved my family from Ohio to Dallas, Texas, last November. So we're coming up on a year now, which is unbelievable.
It just went so fast, didn't it?
It's like I blinked. My daughter started school again yesterday, in 8th grade, and it was her first day. And it's like, how did that happen? The summer just went like that. And anyway, so some unexpected pleasantries have been, my best friend is Glenn Morshower, the famous actor. And he lives here in the Dallas area. And what's really cool about living here is him and I get to hang out a lot, really a lot. And he invited me recently to be in a movie with him. And then the following weekend, after I was in about 4 or 5 scenes in the movie, he invited me to bring my whole family out to film the final scene with my whole family in a church scene. And it was really cool because he set it up so my daughter would be in this really special shot with him. And just really, I stay pretty open in life to everything. I believe that closed-minded people get closed-minded results in life. And I like to stay open to whatever God wants to bring me.
I will tell you, the unintended consequence of friendship it can bring so many benefits. And like you just said, it's not just keeping an open mind, Ken, it's keeping an open heart. Can you
Yes.
talk about that for a second?
Well, I'm very open about this. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I just celebrated 21 years of sobriety, and
Oh my goodness.
it's a
Congratulations.
it's a
21
gift.
years. Wow.
21 years, it's a gift. And about 20 years ago, give or take a few days, somebody said to me, "You need to meditate." And I was a holy roller at the time, and I said,
Now
"That's
wait a minute.
evil."
Was this a year into your recovery?
Yeah, about a year
It's so
in.
interesting because there's this dichotomy of I was so extreme in this regard.
Yeah,
Now let's go completely the opposite way and let's
yeah.
get real extreme over there.
Well, I was very like, oh no, that's not, Jesus wouldn't be happy with that, or what, I just was in this very dogmatic mindset, and um so I eventually I started meditating, and it is the most amazing thing that I've ever done, is just started to meditate. And people are like, "Well, how do you learn how to meditate?" And I'm like, "You just meditate." I mean, it's already, all you're doing is trying to connect with God, with the spirit, the creator of everything. And people are like, I like to say, because I've heard other people say it, that we pray and we're talking to God, and when we meditate, we're listening to God.
Oh,
And
that's so good. I love
right.
that. I
And
love that.
yeah, so I've just meditated every day of my life. It's a non-negotiable for me, actually. Even when we're on vacation or whatever, I meditate. It's part of the deal. And
Is that something that, like rituals, what we get up and comb our hair and brush
yeah,
our teeth, have that cup of coffee. Is that something that you do first thing in the morning or
yep.
before you go to bed at night? What do you do it more than once a day or just once will get you there?
Yes to everything. Yes, it's the very first thing I do in the morning. I get a cup of coffee, I take a few sips, and then I meditate for 15-minute increments, and I'll drink some coffee. And I'm saying 15, it could be 10, it could be, I don't know, but I'll take another couple of gulps of coffee, and then I'll meditate some more. And I do that every single morning. Sometimes during the
But it sounds like you might do that more than once. So you said
yeah,
15-minute increments. So do you go into meditation? I like to think of it as going into spirit, right?
yeah,
Go because when you are within, right, you're shutting out every external distraction,
yeah.
quieting your mind so that you can allow that spirit within you to talk to you. How do you stop the chatter? How do you know it's God? How do you know it's not, something else?
Right. I don't.
That wasn't the answer I was looking
I,
for.
I, I just, I don't know. I look, I think that anybody that claims to know all the answers, they are full of crap. So, I know that it's helped me, be more grounded, be more
Mm.
kind, be loving and lovable, and it's guided my steps in life. And I pray also. But there's, in my first book, I wrote a story that I read in one of Dr. Wayne Dyer's books. It's an old Hindu story, and I'll summarize it quickly. But it's, one day the gods, because they believe in multiple gods, the gods all got together, and they were really upset that the humans had received this free gift from them since the beginning of time, and they've been abusing it and misusing it. And so they decided to hide it from the humans. And what they did, the first god said, "Hey, I know where we can hide it. Let's put it at the top of the highest mountain in the world, and they all said, no, the humans will learn to climb, they'll find it too easy. The second god said, how about we bury it in the deepest part of the ocean? And no, they'll learn how to dive down and find it way too easy. And this gift, by the way, is having the answer to everything you could possibly want to know in life, about life. And the third and wisest god of all of them stood up and he said, I know what we can do. Let's hide it deep within the humans themselves. They'll never think to look there. And so it continues today. And so when I meditate, I think that if we learn that the answers to everything we could possibly ever want to know or ask, the answers are within us. You've heard the saying, trust your gut, right? Well,
Right.
that gut, the spirit of God, the creator of everything, resides in us right here beneath the xiphoid process, right? And so it's right there in the center of our chest. That's your gut. When you have that feeling like, should I do this? Man, everybody else is doing it, but I just feel like I shouldn't do it, or whatever. That's God. That's the spirit of God saying, hey, don't do it.
What's the difference between that and instinctive? Okay. So, and I like to think of instinct a little bit different than what you're describing, but how do you discern that instinct from the intuitive part that you're talking about?
I don't know. I remember in high school taking sociology, and for whatever reason, I remember the teacher saying, and reading in this book, that humans do not possess instincts. And I always found that to be a little curious. Like, why wouldn't we possess instincts? And it's we possess drives, is what I recall. Three major drives was sex, food, and I forget the third one, but I don't know the difference between, I think instinctively, if I feel my child is in danger, I'm going to instinctively move my arm driving down the car to protect my child. I
Sure.
don't
The
I
imaginary
don't know the
sequence.
difference, but what I do know is that I meditate, and it's made a huge impact in my life on every level. Everything that I do, I attribute to my connection with God, and I'm not a religious. You know me pretty well. I'm far from religious, but I'm extremely spiritual. So
I think that's an important distinction as well, because when I think of religious, I think of dogma, I think
yeah,
of rituals, I think of in a different sense that you're driven by a different reason for doing it. But spiritual is that inner drive that you're talking about, the drive that we want to have that peace, that peace that passes all understanding, as they say.
yeah,
And it guides you to do things that may not have been as obvious to you. And some things that we like to think of is, wow, that was so coincidental. You just happened to be here at this point in my life, or you just happened to say something.
yeah.
What do you think about in terms of coincidences? Is it a coincidence or is it spiritual? Is it that connection with that intuitive or gut thing? That is it all part of that same package?
I contemplate this a lot. And quite honestly, I don't have the answer for it. I wish I did. I think that I like to say I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe that. I think that everything that we're doing, if we're seeking that higher level of consciousness in life, I believe that there are no coincidences. I think that there's a at least a tinge of guidance in everything that's happening in our world. Now, I also, I have a and but I don't think that God is a puppet master. I don't think that God is up there pulling strings going, okay, well, today Linda is going to be involved in a hurricane on the beaches of San Diego. And I don't think,
she just happens to go to the east side of San Diego and avoids all
right, right.
unpleasant.
But I do think that we have, free will, and we have control over um, the outcomes in our lives. Have you ever met somebody that no matter what, something's always going wrong in their life?
Oh my goodness. Yes. And no matter how many good things you do for them, they will find something
Yes.
really wrong in it, right?
Yes, they have a problem for every solution. And I know people like that, and I distance myself from people like that as quickly as possible. And I'm
But they're out
talking
there. They're sometimes you
everything.
can't avoid them.
They're always sick, or they have a cold, or they have this, they have that going on, and it's
Wait a minute. And
all
they're
about
always in
energy.
they're always in some sort of a public service
Yeah.
position that you have to customer service or
Right.
something.
Right. But I think that has little to do with coincidence and everything to do with their paradigm and their outlook on life. And
So I heard a friend say that it is a state of mind with judgment, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about their mindset and their judgment. That's what you're talking about. So that even if coincidentally something really fantastic should come to them, they're going to find but there's something wrong with it. That new bed with that's gorgeous and the wood is beautiful on it, I can't sleep on it because it's making me cough. Right?
Right.
There's something wrong in it.
Yeah.
But talking about the coincidences and that the comment is not lost on me that there's nothing new under the sun. So if there's nothing new under the sun, we must be missing a whole lot.
Well, and if you think about, I wrote about this in my first book.
What's the name of that first book, Ken?
Walls of Wisdom: Turning Pain into Profit. And I love Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I talk about the what you just said. Like I say in the beginning of the book, I said, look, if I quote somebody and I remember who said it, I'm going to say, this is who said it. I'm going to give them credit. I'm not going to try to that's plagiarism. However, I think that with that in mind, and Wayne Dyer said this, to your point, he said, there is no such thing as an original thought. All wisdom is plagiarized. Only stupidity is original. And right. And so I think about that, and I think, okay. And you hear people get all, well, that was my idea. Case in point, anybody listening to or watching this right now, we've all had these multi-million-dollar ideas to invent the new widget or a new whatever. Mm-hmm. And we didn't take action. We didn't take action on it. And 6 months, a year, 5 years later, you're walking through whatever store and you see your idea sitting on a shelf, and you're like,
Walmart, top shelf.
That was my idea. Right. And it's because of something called the 100th monkey syndrome.
And what the world is that?
Well, the scientists have discovered that they can take